Hey guys, welcome back to Hyrule Park, where I am building a theme park based on the Legend of Zelda and Planet Coaster 2. This one's going to be a little bit different than the normal build episode that I typically put out. Last time out, we got to the bulk of the ZORA'S plunge coaster theming. And by the way, I've changed up the name for the ride actually to River Rush, because I just integrated a flat ride into the lower plaza area that I think is a much better fit for the ZORA'S plunge moniker. Anyways, yeah, we got through that, like 90% of the theming of the coaster in the last episode, and I felt like it made sense to not immediately jump into another full time-lapse episode before actually letting the ride kind of breathe a bit. Because I don't know, with these bigger builds, sometimes I feel like I spend so long talking through every little decision and every little wall piece that by the time the thing's done, I don't always just kind of sit with it for a second. And especially with a coaster, the whole point is to eventually ride it, right? In getting to see the full thing in the POV. So I wanted this episode to just be a bit of an in-between one, not a huge build breakdown, not a huge plaza finale yet, but more of a payoff episode for this coaster. There's still more coming for this whole area though. The next proper build episode for Zora's Domain will get into the pieces outside of the coaster itself, but still within this plaza area, more specifically the lower plaza next to the queue. There's still a lot of actual build footage left for this plaza. It just felt like that stuff probably belongs together as more of a here's the whole area coming together type of episode, rather than trying to cram it on to the end of this coaster episode. Also, it's my birthday weekend. My wife is taking me into Boston for a couple nights, so yeah, not gonna have as much time as I typically would through the week and in the weekend to work on an episode, and I didn't want to wait to share the final product of this coaster since it's already ready to go. I figured I'd at least get this out. So today, yeah, I figured we'd treat this almost like a little kind of halftime episode for Hyrule Park, intermission, if you will. We're far enough into this park now where it's kind of wild to look back at where some of these areas started, like Castletown and Temple of Time. We're way back. The Lost Woods seems like so long ago. Goron City I started and never went back to. That still needs a whole revamp. And now Zora's Domain. And they all have a pretty different feel to them, and I think that's been one of my favorite parts of this project so far, trying to make each land feel like it belongs in Hyrule, but also that it could stand alone as its own themed area in a real park. And I think Zora's Domain has probably pushed me the most in that direction. It's more polished and layered and a little more complicated structurally, but it's also the area where I feel like I've started to really understand the kind of park that I'm trying to make. Not just a Zelda recreation and not just a Planet Coaster park with Zelda stuff sprinkled on top, but more something like a theme parkized Hyrule, if that makes any sense. And I guess while I got you guys here, outside Hyrule Park, I've also been working on another One Scene, Three Themes episode, and I'm pretty excited about how that one is coming along. Jumping back into that format has been really fun. It forces me to think in a completely different way. Hyrule Park has this giant kind of ongoing world, obviously, to keep building into, but the One Scene, Three Themes is more like, okay, here's the exact same layout. Now make it feel totally different 3 separate times. It's a really good creative exercise, and honestly, it's kind of making me want to start a second park alongside Hyrule Park, which is probably a terrible idea from a time management standpoint, but that's where my brain's at. I'm still very much in the planning side of that, so nothing's really locked in yet, but I do think there's something exciting about having kind of like a fresh start, blank slate, especially now that I'm much better at the game than I was when Hyrule Park started. Not better in the sense that I've mastered anything clearly, because I still spend half my time fighting paths and roofs and wondering why something won't rotate the way I really want it to. But I do feel like I understand the scale better, sight lines a little bit better, how to keep areas compact instead of spreading everything out too much. And now I have use of the scaling mod that opens up a whole build aspect without completely losing the plot. So yeah, I think a second part could be a slower paced series where I really focus on specific design choices, like smaller areas, tighter layouts. Probably want to go into more realism in general with like backstage areas and such. And also it'll just give me a chance to explore themes that don't really fit inside Hyrule Park. Because as much as I love this project, every idea I have can't be forced into a Zelda theme, if you know what I mean. I could try, but at some point Hyrule does not need to have like an Art Deco train station or whatever random thing I get in my head that I want to build. But for now, Hyrule Park is very much still the main project. Zora's Domain still has a lot left. Gerudo Valley is waiting. Goron City, like I said earlier, needs a full revamp. And I'm sure I'll find 17 other things that I want to redo along the way. So yeah, this episode is mostly just a chance to kind of pause for a second, talk about where I'm at with everything, and then finally ride River Rush with the full theming in place. So this has already gone way longer than I wanted to. I meant this to be like a minute or two update, and I don't know what we're at now, but it's way longer than I intended. So I will now stop rambling and let the coaster do the the rest of the docking for a bit. Hope you guys enjoy the POV. Let me know what you think of the ride and the theming. And next week, yeah, I hope to have a normal time-lapse and chat video. All right, enjoy River Rush.
Yeah.